So with those mindfulness techniques and meditation techniques, they will allow you to find ways to connect with other people around you, but also to find ways to look within yourself to find empowerment. These are just some simple, basic techniques to help you to pretty much learn how to control your mood, gain a little bit of control over your mood by gaining control over your thoughts and focusing your thoughts and your energy. The whole point of mindfulness and meditation is to basically learn how to gain control over your mind. You know, there's always been the metaphor that the mind is uncontrollable, and people will see the mind as their enemy. Why do I keep thinking like this? Why is my mind working like this? Why can't I overcome depression? Why can't I overcome this stress? You can. It's just an issue of understanding that the very important thing you must realize is the fact that your mind is simply a tool. Your mind is a tool for consciousness. So you can literally learn how to operate your mind and do things with your mind that you never knew were possible. A lot of people who are struggling with depression don't understand that happiness is possible. A lot of people who are struggling with anxiety don't understand that it's possible to be in a situation and have control over your anxiety levels. You learn that through studying the nature of the mind. It is the nature of the mind that is untrained to be chaotic and wild and to absorb and then reflect whatever it takes in. So if negative experiences are happening and the mind is untrained, it's going to shove out negative experiences into your body. If you're watching negative things on TV, watching overly emotional things on TV, watching things that are just silly on TV, you're not going to get the training that you need to control your own mind, to control your own thoughts, and control your moods, your emotions, and your behaviors. A lot of times people will engage in certain activities and say, I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I think this way. It's that not knowing about yourself that is the most dangerous and the most uncomfortable. It's frightening to be in a situation where you don't know yourself. You don't know why you're doing certain things. You'll engage in a particular activity that you know is not good, it's not positive, it's not good for you, not good for others, but you'll engage in this activity and you won't have any real understanding of why. And the thing about it is, the sad thing is we often just accept it. We accept the fact that we don't know ourselves, and we'll accept the fact that we have no control over ourselves. And we're done with that. This is the age of information. And if you have the right information, you can understand the ways that you can possibly retrain your mind so that you can go from being an individual who's being controlled by depression and overcome it. You have the power inside of you to tap into the faculties of your mind, your conscious mind, and even your subconscious mind, and look within yourself and find ways to manage and eventually overcome these emotional obstacles and these emotional boundaries that have you trapped. You can do it. It can be done. It's just the issue of how deeply you want to look into yourself and get to know yourself. And quite often that's scary because if you're a person who's been through trauma and that trauma still exists within you, you're afraid you're going to look within yourself and see trauma. If you're going through depression, looking within yourself can be very troubling. But I'm here to tell you that when you look within yourself, you're going to only see the divine. Once you get past the darkness and the fear and the anxiety, you look within yourself, you're going to only see the divine. But you just have to understand the nature of yourself and the nature of what exists within you. And it can be a daunting task. It's amazing how, for some people with anxiety, making friends can be very, very daunting. Well, how do you think they feel about making friends and building a relationship with themselves? You might feel intimidated at the idea of building a better relationship with yourself and with your own mind. That's how frightening anxiety can be. That's how frightening depression can be. However, by looking within yourself, you can empower yourself. Yes, you might be afraid to build that relationship. However, you are in control of the relationship. If you treat yourself with kindness, treat yourself with love, and engage in activities that train the mind, what is going to happen is you'll be able to forge a very powerful relationship with your mind and with your own thoughts so that you can overcome these things that are keeping you from living life to the fullest. You look within yourself, you're not just looking at anxiety. You're not just looking at your depression. Look within yourself and see the capacity to create the reality that you want. That might be hard. A lot of individuals who are going through depression might be going through low self-esteem. You might have an external locus of control mentality, which means that you think that control of your life comes from exterior forces. However, once you look within yourself and find the power inside yourself to first manage your depression and anxiety and then overcome it, you'll realize that inside you there's a wellspring of resources, a wellspring of energy and power that can help you get your mind right and live the life that you want. Yes, it's going to take time. It's going to take consistency. But guess what? It takes time to be depressed. Because as depressed as some individuals are, I can tell you from my own personal experiences, you put a lot of energy into remaining depressed. If something happens that seems like it has promise, you'll convince yourself. You'll sit there for an extra 15, 20 minutes convincing yourself that it's not going to work out the way you want. If you feel like you want to achieve a goal, you'll sit there for a half an hour or an hour or a day just convincing yourself you're not good enough to achieve that goal. So it takes a lot of work to remain depressed. So if you can put that much work into your own sense of unworthiness, then put that same energy, focus that same energy on building a positive relationship with yourself and giving yourself the love and compassion that you deserve. Believe me, it's hard work, but it can be done. And you can only get it done by training the mind in a manner that's going to empower you. And that's what we want. We want you to feel empowered. We want you to feel more in control of this. This is yours. Don't think that you belong to your mind. Your mind belongs to you. Don't think that you belong to your body. Your body is yours. Your experience is yours. You are in control. But you convinced yourself that you don't have control because circumstances sometimes arise that might make you feel like you don't have control. You might not have control over your circumstances. So how can I have control over myself? Yourself is the only thing you have control over. You can live the life that you want, but only by gaining control over this. Gain mastery over this. Understand that your mind is yours. Your mind is a tool of consciousness. Your body is a tool of consciousness. And absolutely circumstances can arise that you can't control, but you can always control the mind. And you can always control your internal experiences. You can control how much love you give yourself. You can control how much compassion you give yourself. You might not be able to control other people's perceptions of you, but as long as you can control your perception of yourself and give yourself love, you will have a tremendous amount of control and power and impact over your own existence. Understand, the only real experiences are the experiences within you. There's a lot going on in the world around you that doesn't affect you. There's a lot going on in the world around you every single minute out of the day that you don't even notice. So why do you think that so much of what's happening outside is going to control you? You don't even notice half the things that happen. If you look outside and look at the color spectrum that you can see, we see a very small part of the color spectrum, very small part of it. But there is so much more to the color spectrum, so much more to what's happening in the universe, so much more access to lights, to colors that are the result of the sunlight coming down through our atmosphere. There's so many colors we can't even see them. So many of the colors that we see are colors that are really way brighter or way darker than what our eyes can detect. There's so much happening out there in the universe. We notice this this much of it. This is how much of the universe that we really notice. And this is how much of yourself you really know, because you are a reflection of the universe. You're a reflection of the universe. So just like you only understand the smallest portion of what's happening, the most infinitesimal fraction of what's happening in the outside world, and the rest of your senses can't even detect, imagine what's happening within your mind. And I don't mean that in a scary, negative way. There's so much power and beauty inside you. So much power and beauty inside you that there is no reason to believe that you don't have the capacity to overcome these negative emotions and manage these negative emotions. You are more powerful than you can ever even imagine. The same way you can't imagine the true size and depth of this huge, massive universe. This explosion of space, time, and events and all these, you don't understand it. There's too much we can't see. Too much we can't know. Same thing with you. You can only detect the smallest fraction of your true greatness. And for an individual going through depression, the only aspects of yourself that you can really see are the things that are uncomfortable, things you don't like, things you don't want, things you think negatively of. But that's just the smallest fraction. There's so much more to the completion of a human being that you shouldn't walk around with the idea in your mind that you can only be this small thing, this sad small thing all the time. This anxious, nervous thing all the time. You are infinite. You are a reflection of the universe. So just as the universe moves and has hidden powers within it and hidden strengths within it, and the universe exists in this way where it keeps completing itself and expanding itself, you can do the same thing. and you don't know your potential. You act as if you could only achieve certain goals, but you could only measure what you can achieve if you knew your potential. But if you don't know yourself, you don't know what you can and can't do. You don't know your potential. So how can you condemn yourself and say, well, I have to be depressed? I have to be uncomfortable. I have to be anxious. You only know the smallest portion of yourself. You don't know what you can do. How do you know you can't overcome your depression? How do you know you can't manage your anxiety? How do you know that mindfulness and meditation might not be the key to unlock the greatness that exists within you? Because that's what it was designed for. It was designed to be a series of processes to teach you how to gain mastery over your mind so that you can gain mastery over your body and gain mastery over your environment and connect in a deeper way with individuals around you, connect in a deeper way with nature itself and be a reflection of nature. Once we empty out all the trauma and all the stress and the negative thoughts and the silly images and the violent, aggressive images put into our mind from outside, once we get rid of that, you really get to tap into what's inside. And you know what you hear when you get rid of all that conditioning and training and trauma. Once you get rid of all of that, you know what you hear? Silence. The mind is completely still. And when the mind is completely still and silent, that is the beginning of your new relationship with yourself. That is the beginning of a new understanding of yourself. But first and foremost, you have to come to grips with the fact that you have to learn to look within yourself for the things that you need. Look within yourself for the things that you need. Look within yourself to find out what your potential is. You might be surprised by the answer. There's been plenty of times in my life where I did certain things and thought to myself, I didn't know I could do that. I didn't know I could tap into something inside me that could overcome these things holding me down, and I can do certain things that I didn't know I could do. My journey into the mind, my journey into myself has been full of surprises and full of blessings. And you can have the same thing too. Use the mindfulness and meditation exercises that I gave you. Contact me if you want more information. I have a book on mindfulness and meditation that I'm going to be putting out soon for children 8 to 11 to teach them mindfulness meditation techniques. I'm working on another book for adults called The Fire of Consciousness, which I hope to release to you guys soon, full of contemplations that I want you to use for meditation. And I'm always available here at my business, the Wellness Initiative. We're always here to teach you more mindfulness and meditation techniques and help you to go deeper and deeper within. So let's just start with the basics. Once we get the basics down, we can go a little bit deeper into our journey. And trust me, we're gonna have some fun. Thank you for your time and for your attention. Peace and blessings. May the force be with you.